Reacting to the new War Within PvP changes. I'm not going to read the PvE side of it, I just don't care. All I do is Battlegrounds and Arena and Battleground Blitz. So, I've not read any of this yet, so I thought I'd just make a video and let's go through it together. So, in the PvP section it says Death Knight, Unholy has been nerfed, so Death Coil has been reduced by 15% in PvP, Virulent Plague has by 15%, Frost Fever by 15%, and Blood Plague by 15%. I agree with this. The Death Knights have been pumping way too hard. They always do at the start of expansions, but a welcome change. They're still going to be good, but the damage profile was just ridiculous. They've got so much in the kit. They've got Death Grip, which is absolutely insane, and they just didn't need all that damage when they've got all that utility. So I welcome these changes. Next, we've got Demon Hunter. It says Havoc. All ability damage increased by 4% in PvP, and then Immolation Aura is also increased by 13.6% in PvP. I agree with this. Demon Hunters feel dead squishy. I've had one at the start of the X-Pack when gear was really low that really annihilated me. I couldn't get him off me, he was dodging everywhere, and then he actually melted me. But I've not really experienced that since, so I think they definitely need this buff. What have we got next? Druid, Feral. The bleeds on Feral at the minute are crazy, so let's see what we've got. It's literally one thing. Ferocious Wound now decreases maximum health by 3% per stack, was 5%. The fact that they haven't touched the bleeds is crazy to me, so they're really leaning into that. But currently, it feels like the Druid's on you for a couple of seconds, then if they play well, they can just run off and let the bleeds like do all the work, and then re-stealth, come at you, try it again. So I'm surprised bleeds haven't been touched, but we'll see how it progresses. It is relatively harder to play than other classes Feral, but I don't know, it feels a bit nuts to me, the bleeds. Okay, we've got Restoration. It says Tranquility healing increased by 30% in PvP combat, and we've got Mana Regeneration now reduced by 40% in PvP combat, was 50%, so 10% nerf there. The Tranquility thing, I'm looking forward to seeing how that is, really, because currently Tranquility, they just start casting a load of woo-woo stuff and you can't kill them. So if that starts actually being a really disgusting... Actually, I think this will suck. I remember when Tranquility was good, like in Dragonflight, and it was just really annoying. So the fact that Tranquility is going to be like that again, I'm not really a fan of that. But I'm a Zug Hunter, so I want to marksmanship people. So maybe it's just me being a crybaby, but I don't know. They do need to get a bit of a buff, I guess, but I think that's just because Priest is so insane at the minute, so I'm looking forward to getting to the Priest section. Just feels hopeless fighting a disciplined Priest. You just shoot in a bubble of light that never breaks, they never take damage. If they do take damage, they just put another bubble on, or they heal in one click, or they've got 50 million defensives and blah, 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 blah. And then Preservation of Ochres as well, they've been annoying, so let's crack on. Here we go, Hunter. So, Survival of the Fittest now provides 25% damage reduction. Oh, we've got a 5% nerf on that. And you get 2 charges. So, I'm not going to lie, I have been feeling quite tanky. And as a Hunter, I'm not used to feeling tanky. So, I guess, considering the range on marksmanship, the dogs have interrupted. So, I think I was waffling about marksmanship Hunter. The nerf is feeling fair. So, 5% on the Survival of the Fittest. And then your survival tactics, your fake death, like 90% reduction window, is now 2 seconds instead of 3. So if you're good at the game, that makes very little difference because you'll time the window properly. The 3 seconds was very forgiving, so I'm glad they've not butchered our damage. I'm glad we're still like glass cannon almost, but we still feel pretty tanky. If you can kite well and land your traps, like, we're feeling tanky at the minute. Oh, here we go, hero talents. Oh god, I hope nothing bad's happening here. We've got Dark Ranger. Smokescreen now applies Survival of the Fittest at 50% effectiveness in PvP combat. Wait, what? Sentinel, Don't Look Back effectiveness reduced by 50% in PvP combat. Not entirely sure what they are. I'll have to load the game up and go read the tooltips, but I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe it's not. I have no idea. So next we've got Mage. Frigid Winds is now 50% effective in PvP combat. Don't really know what that is, can't lie. Arcane Missiles. Damage increased by 35%. Was 20%. Like, Arcane Mages already slap, so that's a big but. Oh, maybe they don't use Arcane Missiles much. Arcane Orb damage increased by 40%. Was 30%. So another 10% buff there. I think that if Arcane Orb is that disgusting purple ball that chases you around, like, Arcane Mages can melt me, but I can melt mages, so it's like we're both glass cannons. Fire, here we go. Fire feels pretty underwhelming at the minute. So, we've got Pyroblast increased by 20%, Fireball increased by 150%, was 100%, Scorch increased by 300%, was 200%, Ignite damage increased by 15%, World in Flames now increases Flame Strike damage by up to 50%, was 100%. And then Glass Cannon PvP talent now decreases health by 30%, was 15%, and increases the damage done by Scorch, Fireball, and Ignite by 20%, was 30%. So your damage should be feeling more consistent again. So hopefully you're back in the game. I don't want you to be top dogs again, but hopefully you're back in the game so I can shoot more mages in Battlegrounds. Like, do you know what I mean? I just love, they're my main prio. I just love marksmanship, hunter in mages. I live for that. So next we've got Shaman. Healing Stream Totem is increased by 15% in PvP. Elemental, we've got Lightning Bolt increased by 15%. Chain Lightning increased by 15%. And damage, your Tempest damage increased by 15%. Elemental always has really good damage. It just really struggles to actually get it off. So, I mean, you're going to continue zug-zugging in like Battlegrounds and stuff, but when pressure's on you, it's hard to get all that stuff off. So we'll see how that progresses. See if they now just one-shot you. Restoration, you've got Healing Wave increased by 10%. Healing Surge increased by 10%. I haven't really seen many restos. Like I say, Disc Priests and Preservation Evokers and Mistweaver Monks in the Battlegrounds with the flags have kind of been ruining the show for all the other healers. Not really seen many Paladins. Druids, I see a few of them, but I quite like where Druids are at the minute, I can't lie. Warlock, we've got the effectiveness of Demon Skin's armor bonus is no longer reduced by 50% in PvP combat. Demonic Resilience now reduces the damage taken by your primary pet by an additional 67% in PvP combat. Pets are dying, bro. Like, they just get cleaved down. I've noticed that all the time on my pet. Affliction, Malevolent Visionary damage reduced by 30%. Shadow Bolt Volley reduced by 25%. Soul Harvester, Wicked Reaping damage reduced by 20%. Soul Anathema reduced by 20%. Demonic Soul reduced by 20%. I like all the Affliction nerfs that are coming through because they just feel ridiculous at the minute. You cannot be anywhere near one. It's just so unfun being anywhere in the vicinity of an Affliction Warlock. Yeah, you can defeat them, but it's UV them, and it just takes way too long. You've got to stay max range, run away, don't let them cast ever, and the dots still just wear you down. Like, they're absolutely brutal at the minute. They're good in single target 1v1, and they're good at just melting everyone in big Battleground cleave situations. So they needed toning down. Whether this is enough, we'll see. Demonology, Demon Bolt damage increased by 40%. Yeah, good. I don't ever see Demonology, so whatever you can do to get him in the game, let's go for it. Warrior, defensive stance now reduces damage taken by 15%. Was 10%, bro. Warriors are so hard. I just knocked a bottle over. Warriors are already so hard to kill, bro. Like, do they even need this? Like, I know it's literally rolling away. That's like a comedy skit. Arms, we've got Execute damage increased by 15%. Mortal Strike increased by 55%, was 35%. God, Arms is back, bro. Like, Arms wasn't far off. Fury was just, like, absolutely smashing. So now Fury's, like, fizzled out a little bit. Definitely going to get the Mortal Strike Arms Warriors back. Master and Commander now reduces the cooldown of Rallying Cry by 120 seconds, was 90 seconds, and decreases its effect by an additional 10%, was 15%. And then finally, Protection, Execute damage increased by 15% in PvP combat. Bro, I just cannot stand tanks in PvP. There was one point where I was on the PvP aisle in World PvP. You know what, I'm thinking about it now. My gear must have been shocking. But there was a prot warrior on me, and I was just rooted, I was stunned, I couldn't move my character, I couldn't play, and then he like one-shot me. So my gear must have been terrible now that I think about it. But tanks, like, God, who can be arsed with tanks, mate? Not me. Anyway, I've waffled enough. What are your thoughts? Has a class been missed out? Do you feel like your class needs a buff? What still needs a nerf? What are your thoughts on the changes? Blah, blah, blah. You know the drill by now. I made a game. It's on Steam. It's called Battle Babes. It's like Hearthstone, but babes. So go check it out. Support the channel. Leave a review. Love you all. Hasta la vista. Peace.